The first giving of the law on Mount Sinai, oh, you got to hear this, was a gift of grace. Well, the title of our fourth and last introductory study before we jump into the actual narrative of Exodus is Law and Grace. I think this is one of the most profoundly important contributions of Exodus to us. There is so much misunderstanding in the church, in God's people, about God's law and His grace. There are thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of Christians who think that God's law and His grace are in opposition to one another. Maybe you have fallen into thinking that the Old Testament is about God's law and the New Testament is about God's grace. And one of the things that I find is most helpful about Exodus is its ability to clear up our misunderstanding when it comes to law and grace, making the relationship between the two clear and understandable. The first thing here that you find in Exodus is important to pay attention to when God's law was first given. The history here is vital to understand. At the giving of the law, God had already chosen Israel as His own. He had already redeemed them from slavery. He had already placed His love and grace on them. Now, here's what this means. This means the law of God was never, ever given as a means of achieving acceptance with or relationship with God. Because the people who first received the law had already been redeemed by His mercy. God had already chosen to place His love on him. In the book of Romans, Paul writes of the impossibility of anyone ever gaining the acceptance of God by keeping the law. No sinner could ever be that perfect. The first giving of the law on Mount Sinai, oh, you got to hear this, was a gift of grace. You see, God loved His people, and He knew that after 400 years of slavery in a pagan nation, they had no idea how to live. They had no idea how to live in worship, surrender, and obedience to Him. They didn't know what that was like. They had no idea how to live in peace, love, and harmony with one another. They had no idea how to erect a moral culture that had God at the center. They had no understanding of His moral boundaries. So in an act of beautiful mercy, God gave them His law. It was meant as a gift of love and grace to those He had chosen, redeemed, and taken as His own. You see, the law is a gift. The law has a unique ability to expose our sin. The law is a wonderful guide for our life. But the law has no ability to rescue us from us. no ability to make our hearts clean, no ability to make us acceptable in the sight of God, none. And so that was never the purpose of the law. The law was given as a gift to those God had already placed His love on.